Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. It's great to be here as always. You're watching the VSO Gun Channel, and today, y'all been absolutely hammering me for the last 24 hours over this Shawn Ryan situation. So for those of you who are not familiar, Shawn Ryan is a very popular podcast host. If you have not seen his stuff, you've almost certainly seen his face before if you've never watched any of his stuff. But to give you a real quick synopsis, I would say that he is very good at digging deep into people and topics. So one of the customs on his show is that he gives everybody a gift. And he recently had Gavin Newsom on his show. And for the opening gift, he gave him a handgun on air. I knew as soon as you guys started sending it in and I saw it rolling in at the rate that it was that y'all had spoken and that I was going to have to cover this. And we're going to do that after we hear a quick word from today's not quite sponsor. Today, instead of an ad read, what I wanted to do was take an opportunity to highlight something that is going on to support the Second Amendment. And that is that there is an Ohioan, fellow Ohioan and fellow YouTuber, Delta 34. What he is looking to do is crowdsource the acquisition of his local range. Basically, the people who currently own the facility are getting a little bit more aged and they're wanting to pass the torch on. And he has taken it upon himself to go down that road. So he's trying to crowdsource the funds to be able to do this. It looks to me like a fairly nice facility. I will have a link to his video in all the relevant places for you to run down. But the purposes of him doing this is to first ensure that it remains a range and that it doesn't get sold off and turned into apartments or something like that. And two, to ensure that the next generation of firearms training available to the public, the ability to just go to a range and not have to sit in a bay and be like, you can only fire X number of rounds per X number of seconds. No, we're talking like move and shoot and props and all that sort of stuff available for people to use and do their thing. And I think that's a noble cause. So again, I will have the links to his stuff listed in all the relevant places. Go check out what he is doing. See if it's worth your support. And I thank you very much. So the first thing I want to do as it relates to the Ryan Newsom interview is say, good job, because you all passed the vibe check. I put this poll up mid-afternoon, and you will notice that the text above and the responses to the poll are not congruent, because I think that it is exceptionally important, even if we do not agree with someone, that we still be willing to have a conversation with them. While we do not have to compromise with them by simply not talking to them or not even having a discussion about this sort of thing, then there is no opportunity for us to show that they are wrong. And I got to tell you, there are very few things that I agree with Governor Newsom. I still think that he has a right to be an idiot and that Shawn Ryan has a right to interview him. So I'm sorry that I did this to you, but I wanted to see how you guys were going to react, and you guys passed the test with flying colors. Good job. This is especially true in that we are reacting at this juncture to the teaser reel of the show. We just got this one thing that shows a chop up on Shawn's Instagram and X account of the fact that this exchange occurred. I am assuming, being somewhat familiar with what Shawn does, is that in giving this weapon to Governor Newsom, that he is going to drum up the anti-gun sentiment and that they're going to talk about this on air. And I certainly hope that Shawn Ryan takes him to task, because the governor's wrong. And quite frankly, he's ignorant, and you can see that from some of the excerpts. So I guess now is as good a time as any. We'll just go ahead and hop right into it. There's no reason to draw it out. What I will say is that we're just going to be reacting to screenshots, because the video is the wrong format to stretch to meet this format, so it would look terrible. And then on top of it, it's a sizzle reel that has been edited with copyrighted music over top of it. So we're just not going to be using that. So anyway, the first thing I would like to say is that I would say that the governor looks genuinely surprised and happy to receive this thing. In a couple of these screenshots, if you look at his face, he looks like he thinks this is cool, which is a good thing. And that's about where my positive review of what we have thus far from this interaction stops. He says, "I'm not anti-gun at all. I'm just for gun safety, common sense." Bullshit, Governor, because if it was common sense, that weapon that you were just gifted is a California compliant weapon. And what does that mean? That means that certain accessories cannot exist on the weapon, but specifically the stock magazine that would come with a normal P365X macro, which holds 17 rounds, has been replaced with a California compliant one that arbitrarily limits the capacity of the weapon. If you were using common sense, then you would be for the firearm as originally designed, and originally designed means that it holds the number of bullets that were engineered to fit into it, which is equivalent to the empty space underneath of the human hand in the grip. But instead, you folks out there have decided to place a stupid limit based on nothing on the capacity of the weapon. It has nothing to do with physics or engineering or anything like that. That is not common sense. That is political bullshit. I'm pretty sure also that California compliant guns have to have, now, I'm not a resident of California, so I don't know this off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure that their approved guns on their handgun roster have to have a magazine disconnect as well, which, don't even get me started on magazine. It's a terrible idea. I'm also very interested to see how, like, the bona fide gift thing and the purchase card and stuff like that all works in the state of California with the governor, and if the governor is going to have to go through any of that other crap that the citizens of his state have to go through. Anyway, I'm on this one long enough. I think we can continue on. I'm going to read this one word for word. I'm make sure that I get this exactly right. "I'm challenged by large capacity magazine clips in urban centers." I'll let you translate that one. Oh, buddy. Weapons of war, outgunning the police, but otherwise, man, right to keep and bear arms. Say it with me. The Second Amendment protects the right of the people to own weapons of war. They are not modern sporting rifles. They are weapons of war, and they belong on our streets. The governor is wrong, but we know that California, him and his lackeys out there, don't really have a whole lot of respect for the Constitution of the United States. And I certainly hope that when this full episode airs, that Shawn Ryan will take him to task on that. And until which time, I reserve my judgment. And I hope that Shawn does not softball that interview. What say you in the comment section down below?